Oh my. Okay, we're live. Hi everybody, thank you for joining us. If you are new here, my name is Lindsay. This is my husband Jess. We are the owners and operators at Hayes Cofell Performance Horses in London, Ontario. And we breed, raise, train, show, sell reining horses, ranch riding horses, cow horses a little bit, and we have the best clients in the whole wide world. So we are here answering questions sent in by you guys. We're here every Tuesday night at 7:30 answering questions, trying to provide some tips, sometimes getting into deep conversations about ethical things about horses. Tonight we're answering the question, show season is over for me, now what? And we will get to that. The questions, as we're talking, the questions are not rhetorical. We want your input as we go along. So make sure that you say hi, let us know that you can hear us. Leave your questions and comments and any input that you have as we go along, because we do want to see that. We'll try to get to every question. If we don't get to them right away, we'll try to get to them after the fact. And if you have a question or if you have a suggestion for a topic, you can send it to us at hayescofellph@gmail.com, and we will add it to our list to try to tackle on a Tuesday night that's coming up. If you want to dive into some of the other conversations that we've had, or you're looking to find some specific advice about something, you can go to our website, which is hayescofellperformancehorses.ca, and you can click on the education tab. And in there, you can hit the search button and you can search pretty much anything by the keyword. And anytime that we've talked about it in one of these lives will pop up with the timestamp. You can also choose to listen to it as an audio file if you prefer to listen to an audio file rather than try to watch a video. So you can do all those things. If you don't want to miss anything, you can sign up for our email list. You can do that by hitting the blue button that says sign up on the cover page of our Facebook page. You can, if you're finding us on Instagram, you can hit our profile. There's a link in our profile. At the bottom is where you sign up. Or you can go to our website, and pretty well anywhere on there you can find the sign up info to get on the email list. With the email list, you'll get the topic in the morning. So this morning the topic went out, and a lot of times we ask for your input then in the morning so that we can bring it up tonight in the live, and you'll automatically get sent the replay from the previous week. You'll also get any of the TAC features that we have, any upcoming clinics, all that stuff. Everything is there in the email list for you. So show season is over for me. What's next? That's what we're going to get to. Before we get to that, we need to talk about the challenge that we have starting tomorrow, because we said we would give some of the challenge members a sneak peek about what's coming and what is coming for that. So there's over 100 people in there already, which is awesome. And if you have not signed up, then you can look in the description for this video and you can get yourself signed up there. It's free, it's open to anybody. You can join, you can invite your friends. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna spend the first day, so it's 5 days, we're gonna spend the first day where we cover your wins. You're going to contribute, you're going to write out 5 wins that you've had over the last year with your horse, and you're going to share them with the group. It's really fun. It's a really fun way to reflect on the progress that you have made. It brings a great energy. We all get to see what each other's wins are. It's really fun. And then it gets a little bit more work intensive. So the second day, we're going to try to identify your bigger goal, whatever your bigger goal is, and there's kind of a method that we're using to find that, and we will be in there helping you with that if you need help. We're also going to identify your next action step, so a very, very small goal that is the first step that you're going to take to accomplish that bigger goal. Then we're going to have a look at a YouTube video that has it's kind of an idea about time management, and we're going to talk about the 3 things that you need to work on the most to get to your goal, so that you don't fill your time with things that are not going to help you get there. We don't want to be working at the same thing all the time, doing the same thing over and over again. We don't want to be working on the things that are not getting us closer to that goal. So we're going to identify those. Then we're going to schedule it out. We're actually going to have you schedule something into your smartphone or your calendar or whatever, so that we have some kind of accountability there. And on the 5th day, we find an accountability partner to check in on us and see how we're doing with our goals, if we need to rearrange things or change things, or if we've already smashed them out. And these goals are supposed to be things that are going from now until basically December 31st. So it's the next 90 days. It actually ties in really well with our topic tonight, which is show season's over for me, what's next? This challenge is kind of a neat answer to that question. So again, if you want that info, in the description, you can find the link to sign up. Once you've signed up, you'll get the info sent directly to your email address. You'll get an invitation to the private Facebook group, and everything is delivered in both locations so you don't miss anything. It's all a nice, neat little package. There's a printable and everything. Are you excited? Okay, so show season's over for me. Now what? Do you want to take it away? What do you think? What's the things that we need to work on now that show season's over?
I think the biggest thing now for the horses is everybody needs to have a realistic idea of what they want to do for next year. You know, we either see people jump in now for next year, or we see people lay their horses off. The ones that jump in now for next year thinking, okay, my horse was on a steady, but I want to improve a turnaround or whatever. Those are the easiest ones, because now we have time, you know, to just pick a technique, pick a step in that horse's turnaround, or pick a position that we want, and we have all winter to start working on it. Or I guess to back up, for anybody that doesn't know, so we had our last Ontario show, which means most of the people up here won't be showing now until next spring.
The club shows are starting to wind down now too, and
Club shows are winding down, but for up in Canada, there's a lot less going on, and especially this winter. You know, there's just a lot less going on this year. So, you know, a lot of people are thinking, you know, do we work on our horses? Do we give them some time off? Everybody has their own goals with it. So the people that want to work on the horse, the biggest thing I always say is, now is the time where you just take all the pressure off. You still ride your horse, but you bring them back to as if they're like a 2 coming 3-year-old, and you just pick on a body position, pick on something that you want worked on. You know, you still ride them, you still do your exercise, you still do whatever you need to do, but now is the time where you can really
break it down.
Get back to the core of what do you want your horse to do.
Yeah, you're not just sneaking stuff through or trying to get a quick fix. You're really breaking it down and trying to change the habits, fix the body position.
Right, and whether that be on the person or the horse, it's all the same. The nice part about it now is, you know, so when they opened us up kind of midsummer, we had so many shows everywhere to go to that it got to be a little bit chaotic. You know, every weekend was something. So now there's some time to kind of breathe again and say, okay, what do I want to do for next year? Do I want my horse to be, you know, step up to the next division? Do I want to do another skill set? Maybe I want my reiner to do a little more cows, or my cow horse to be better on the rein part.
Do I have a big glaring issue that needs to get fixed?
Well, if there's a big glaring issue, then that's when you go right away. And be realistic, because we have some time, but you can't also just stop and say, you know, well, I have time, so it's no big deal. You still ride with a purpose. The other side of that is the people that, like at the last show, you know, we see it with numerous people. Some people might even be on this tonight, where, you know, they didn't have their farrier out lately to because they're like, well, we're just gonna get through one more show and we're gonna pull the shoes, and that type of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but you just have to have that realistic expectation for next year that you're not gonna be as prepared if you kept riding. We're only mid-September, we still have some good riding, outside riding we can do. I'm a believer, even if you're gonna throw your horse out for the winter, there's still some good riding to do. So if you had a problem, let's say at the last show, your horse didn't do as well in a maneuver, or you didn't do well in a maneuver, why not work on that for the next couple of weeks so that you feel better, you know, when you're sitting at the Christmas table and you're eating your turkey and you're sitting there thinking, geez, you know, I didn't maybe stop that horse as good as I had hoped at the last show, and it's been festering in your mind that, you know, you're worried about it. Why not just fix it for a little while and then lay him off in the winter with that? From a health point of view, I think you're better to stay riding. And I agree with turnout. I agree with, you know, taking some pressure off. But I do think horses, the more you can ride them properly, are healthier. And I think it's, you know, if you're going to have the animal, why not work them a little bit? From the health point of it, so they're not going down the road as much, they're not being worked as hard. Things I caution people about is, you know, if that horse was on a joint supplement or something, don't take him off. You know, just because he's not showing, do not take him off. Let that build up all winter and keep feeding him that. From the shoe point of view, we see it with the reiners a lot at the last shows where people, you know, they'll ask me, oh, rip the shoes off, you know, they're going home and they're not going to be rode as a reiner anymore. Certain horses can handle that, but most horses, that's not a good way to do it. You know, if you're going to pull the shoes off, that's fine, but don't just pull them off and throw them outside. We're pretty lucky here. We have pretty good ground that we can get away with that a little bit, but most people, if they're crossed rock, you know, driveways, that kind of stuff, if you're gonna, obviously you can pull shoes, but if you're gonna pull something that's had shoes on for the last 8 months and just pull shoes out and kick old flick out in the field, you know, maybe you should put some iodine on them feet for a few days and kind of baby them a little bit and, you know, take care of them horses now so that you got a better horse in the spring. What's your thoughts? I feel like I kind of want to rant about a couple different things.
You did, yeah. I'm on the same page with you, where I feel like there's still a lot of good riding time left. I know for me, right around Christmas gets really busy just with life. And for us here, January is kind of rotten riding time. So I like to really make use of the next couple of months and try to stay riding outside as much as we can, knowing that I'm going to have some really cold days in January that I'm going to have to take off, and sometime right around Christmas where I'm just too busy. So I like to keep going. I do notice a big difference for people who stay riding all year round versus people who only ride in the good weather. But I think before we move on to, before we move out of show season, there's a huge benefit to kind of consolidating and doing basically an audit of your own show season. So taking like a bird's eye view and looking at everything from your show season. So collecting your videos, looking at your score sheets, even taking a few minutes. I'm big on writing things down. I have to write things down. I'm big on pen to paper, helps me to retain things. And I find it really helpful to have to go back to. So I think at the end of show season, doing kind of an audit of your own show season, looking back at videos, making observations, writing things down, things that you learned this show season that you really want to remember for next show season. You know, little details that right now are fresh in your head and you think, oh, I won't forget that, but you might. Write all those things down and keep them somewhere so that when you get back into it, you have those things to those things to refresh. I think also, you know, we're talking about this challenge and how the first day is looking at wins. I think taking kind of an inventory of the progress that you did make is really helpful. It really is energizing, and you can feel at the end of show season, you can feel a little bit burnt out and a little bit even discouraged if your horse ended up not doing very well at the last show. And so I think looking at the progress that you did make, the lessons that you did learn, the investments that you made into your riding personally for the long term, or the training that you put on your horse, or the exposure that you gave your horse, I think taking a few minutes, or maybe even longer than a few minutes, taking a little bit of time to consolidate and appreciate what you did get done before you come up with a plan for moving forward is really valuable if you can do that. Sometimes when show season gets stretched right out, you know, normally we'd be still hauling now and getting ready for some of the bigger shows that we go to. It's hard to then do that kind of audit, that kind of consolidation, because you're still going, you're still, you know, driving down the road and trying to get stuff done. But I think maybe we can even take advantage of the fact that our show season is shortened up a little bit, and we can really take time to evaluate what we did get done. Are you trying to show off those glasses tan lines, or what are you doing here with your glasses off?
Sorry.
That last time Daphne was laughing at your glasses tan lines.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Does anybody have any questions about that? Does anybody have any specific things that we can help you with at the end of show season? Things that you're wondering if you should do or you should not do? We've done a live about something like this. I can't remember exactly what the question was, but where we talked about using the off season to maybe try a different event, or you know, get your horse out more and just kind of keep him fresh and do some different things. I think there's definitely value in that as well. It's kind of a different, maybe a little bit different conversation, but if anybody has questions, you're welcome to drop them in here. We'll try to get to them right now or after we're done. You had a good show. You got a bunch of stuff, got some checks put on some horses and got them schooled and seasoned, and
Bred a lot of young horses and got them to see the sights.
yeah.
So I think the biggest thing, you know, you have to decide now what you're going to do all winter. And you have to look, even if you're kicking your horse out or riding him a lot less, I feel like there needs to be that realistic expectation of where you're going to want him to be in the spring, health-wise, physical-wise. And a lot of people kind of say, oh, it's the end of the year, I'm not going to get my vet to check him over, I'm not going to get that last shoe job, or you know, there's just so many little things like that.
Yeah, the effort kind of peters out.
And I think this is a better time to take care of those horses, joint-wise, health-wise, feet-wise, anything that's of a concern. You know, if they're having a little maybe sore muscles somewhere, now's the time to really get it worked at. You know, they always say, oh, it'll fix itself through the winter. Well, it'll fix itself through winter better if you help it now and have some help with it. You know, we just see it so often where, you know, people will rip shoes off. Maybe not now, this year, because it's middle of September, but we see it, you know, coming home from Congress and coming home from the fraternity show and stuff, where they want to rip the shoes off and turn their horse outside a lot more, and he's barefoot. You know, now, you know, that isn't the time to let them get bruised up. I mean, they're going into winter. So just kind of thinking ahead a little bit that way. You know, if they're maybe a little joint sore and everybody says, oh, they can rest all winter, why not have a vet kind of evaluate them now, see if there's anything can be done now so that they heal up that much better through winter, you know, and take care. And there is some things that are, you know, they are better, they get more turnout, they get more, you know, exercise that way. But a lot of stuff, I think people just get lazy now, and now's the perfect time to work on stuff, getting them healthier, getting them fresher mentally, you know, putting a new event in front of them. You know, if you have one that's, let's say, a reiner, maybe throw the ranch riding at them a little more, or throw the cow stuff at them just a little more. You know, I mean, and people, you know, they cross train, and it's better for the joints, better for the body, and better for the mind. It's exactly the same with the horses.
Becky's saying, I thought I would want to break this year, but there's not much I wouldn't do to have another shot at earning a check. It's funny because last week, Becky, you were like, I'm burnt out of showing. I don't want to show anymore. But I hear you. Becky shows with us, and we had a slow start to this season, or a delayed start to this season, and then we've basically been showing every other weekend. So that's a lot. It's a lot of being gone, and it's been fun. Becky's been getting along really good with her horse, so having another shot at a check would be fun. Becky's also saying she needs to get some weight put back on hers.
Sure, now's a good time, you know, whether they need weight on, weight off is, you know, a good time to reevaluate that stuff.
Kim's saying, what do you recommend this time of year as far as joint care goes? Ask your vet. We're just two people on the internet.
Yeah, and I think what happens a lot of time this year, people go from rubbing legs, supplements, you know, walking their horses out before they ride them, the things that you do to take care. And I think this time of year, people kind of go, oh, it's at the end of the year, I'm not going to buy another bottle of supplements, or I'm not going to buy another bottle of liniment and rub it on there. You know, it's too cold, I just want to go back inside. And now is a very important time to do it. I don't think anything changes as far as vet care. If they're sore, get a vet.
Yeah, basically whatever you were doing, keep doing it. If there's an issue, still have it dealt with. Don't ignore it. Which, Kim, you do. You take good care of your horses.
That's just such a big one, I think, is I always hate that saying, oh, we just need that one more show out of this set of shoes, or one more show and then they're done anyways. You know, the more you can get them healthy right now, November, December, January, you know, 6 months from now, we'll all be riding hard again, getting ready for, well, if we have a show season next year, I hope it does, but only the government will know that. But I mean, in 6 months from now, it's March and everybody wants to get outside. So if that horse needs some help, why not help it now?
Do it now, yeah.
You know, have the vet out and look at them. Come up with a plan. You know, if they're a little muscle sore, or maybe, you know, a tendon maybe is a little iffy or something. Now you got time to really work on it. Instead of saying, oh, I wish I would have done this back in October, and are trying to really heal it up in the spring again. You know, the people that ride through the winter, they, you know.
You're saying the same thing over and over again.
All right.
Yeah, we get it. We get it. Do we have any other questions in here? Are wind puffs common, and what do you do for this? We should probably say ask your vet about that as well.
Yeah, it's definitely a vet issue. I mean, I'm a big one on wrapping wind puffs, tightening those up. But, you know, I've always been told, you know, slow miles doesn't make wind puffs. Hard banging miles does. But, you know, again, ask the vet. And now's the time to, you know, nice thing about even wind puffs or something, call your vet up and say, hey, you know, I'll pay you for 10 minutes of your time. Give me your opinion. You know, what should I wrap with? What, you know, hours on, hours off. You know, is there poultices that are better than others, all that kind of stuff. You know, now's the best time to be doing it.
Becky's saying she's been going through all of her tack and bridles and cleaning up and making sure everything's in good condition. Yeah, that's a good
another
idea.
one. Take care of your saddle. Don't just throw it away. Don't put your bridles down with your reins twisted.
Taking an inventory of what products you need refilled and all of that stuff, because the show season can get kind of wild on equipment.
We had a good inventory. I found 2 bridles of customers. They left with me.
Did you find a brush? Kevin's looking for a brush with a plaque on the back of it. No? Okay. We need a lost and found. Okay, I hope that was helpful for some of you. I hope that maybe you found something in here that you will be able to implement right away, and that you are signed up for our challenge or are going to go and do that right now, so that we can help you in a little bit more depth with what exactly to do and how to make sure that you're on the right track for next year now with what we're doing over the next 90 days. Anything else that you wanted to say?
I actually feel like the tack one we should talk about a little bit too. You know, don't just put your tack back in the thing. Clean off, you know, if you are going to lay your horse off a little bit, or if you have tack, you only use it like, let's say, a show pad or whatever, or summer sheets or whatever you're not using. Send them away and get them cleaned.
Yeah.
Take all them ties off your reins and water loops and put new ones on, and, you know, oil all that stuff up and put it away in a bag. Put it, you know, take care of it so that when you take it out in the spring, you're not surprised because something is what it is. Or buy a new saddle.
What? Where did that come from?
You can order a new Bob's, just saying.
Oh my gosh.
But now's the time to really look at that stuff. You know, put your show
Yeah.
pads and go get them dry cleaned. You know,
Take care of your one pad.
yeah, what else can we plug in here?
Yeah.
You know, yesterday I just took my trailer and
Oh, horse trailers.
gutted it right
Oh my
out.
gosh, power wash that sucker out.
Took the mats out. I mean, I still have a couple big hauls I got to make with horses to shows and the sales and whatnot. But I do that, you know, and that's, I think, overlooked a little bit is, you know, if there's, let's say, a little wiring problem with your trailer, get it fixed. If they're, you know, if the mats haven't been out in a while, take them out, power wash it out. So that, boy, in the spring, it just seems so much easier. You know, hinges need to be greased, do it.
Yeah, if it's going to sit for a few months.
Sure.
Yeah.
And the tack, you know, like, don't just throw your splint boots in a tack box and let them sit all winter. You know, wash them out. You know, hang them in a mesh bag, put them somewhere where they're going to dry out.
Sport boots and splint boots go in the dishwasher. In case anybody doesn't know this. And spray them with some OxyClean and put them in the top rack of your dishwasher. They come out great.
Sure. You know,
Same with ball
leather.
caps.
Well,
My
and
favorite
even
trick.
like your hat, you don't think about it. You put it back in
Oh
a
man,
hat can.
clean your hat. Yeah.
You know, clean it or take it to
Boots.
somewhere and get it cleaned
Yeah.
properly. Put it in the right
Yeah.
in the right spots. You know, don't leave it in
Yeah.
your horse trailer.
Yeah.
You know, and those are things that really in the spring make a huge difference when your tack comes out.
Makes a big difference in how long your tack and your horse trailer and your hat and everything lasts too.
Oh, sure.
How long total? Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anybody that hauls their trailer around with young horses in it more than me, and it gets banged around. And we were talking, my trailer's now over 16 years old. And, I mean, horses have tried to beat it up something fierce, but I'm
There's been a lot of horses in that trailer.
really big on, you know, my bearings are always packed. I always, you know, I do mine twice a year.
Yeah, you've power washed this horse trailer out twice already this year?
Oh dear, like these 6 or 7 times.
Oh, that many times? Really?
And those are important things to keep your, so, you know, getting away from the horse point of view, but the tack and the, your equipment, you know, take your show shirts out, get them, you know, get them cleaned or whatever you do to them. Same with your chaps, if anything needs to be fixed. Ironic that Kevin Simmons' name is just on there now when we're talking about chaps getting fixed.
Why does he need, oh yeah, his
Didn't he
zipper.
have a chat
Oh
malfunction
yeah,
or
he had a
something on the
chat
weekend?
malfunction. Yeah.
But a lot of that stuff you don't think about, like even your show head stalls, if, you know, like we'll use show head stalls and we'll change them out. You know, just run over them real quick with a little oil. Get that sweat off the back of them. They'll last way longer. You know, and that's so important. You know, and I don't know if that gets along with the horses, but I feel like it's the horse care. You know, if your trailer's in better shape, your tack is in better shape, everything's in better shape, you know, then it is what it is.
Awesome. I'm just trying to read this. Becky's plugging herself. She can help with chaps. Yeah, if anybody needs their chaps sized. Michelle's saying, I made some Greenland wax for waterproofing, etc.
I think it says canvas.
Waterproofing canvas, 9 parts paraffin, 1 part beeswax, melt in a tin can in a pot of water. Once melted, pour in old muffin tin. Let cool till hard. Looks like a bar of soap. Rub on the horse blanket and then use a blow dryer or a heat gun to melt the wax on the blanket. Huh.
There
We've
you
never
go.
tried that.
That looks like a lot of work.
It does
Good
look
for
like,
you, Michelle.
Yeah, we send ours out and have them cleaned by somebody else. Okay, thanks for being here, you guys, and thanks for sending your questions in. Like I said, if you have further questions, you can email them in to us at hazecofelph@gmail.com. If you have not signed up for the challenge, sign up for the challenge. If you are interested in a more personalized coaching experience where we're actually teaching how to do riding things with videos, riding plans, audio lessons, checklists, support, then you should have a look at our online coaching program, Momentum, which can be found at momentumhcph.com, or you can send either one of us a message and we will get you the info. That opens up the end of this week, and we only open it up for a short time and then we close it up because we do put so much effort into serving members inside of there. We can't have it open all the time. Anything else that you want to say right now? Any other tangents that you feel like you need to go on?
Why
This
do
is
you
your
always
last
go
chance.
I want to talk to my agent. I feel like I'm being abused on my job here.
Your agent?
Yes.
Am I not your agent?
Damn.
Okay, thanks for being here, you guys. Thanks for commenting, and we will talk to you soon. If you're in the challenge, I'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a good night.
Right.